Back tonight here on In Focus. There's been mixed reaction to the sentencing of former VBS Mutual Bank chairperson Tshifhiwa Matodzi. He was handed an effective 15 years in jail after pleading guilty to 33 charges, including corruption, fraud, money laundering, and racketeering, which led to the institution's 2018 collapse. Defender Democracy National Committee member Nicole Fritz joins us now for more reaction. Nicole, good to have you, and thank you very much for your time. 6 years later, finally we have a guilty verdict. The first thing, of course, is the time it takes for us to get to these particular outcomes. And still, it's only the chairperson, I suppose, who's going down. But there are plenty other beneficiaries who have actually not gotten to this point.
That's exactly right. And we seek to highlight that in our statement. We do applaud this moment of reckoning and accountability. But Tshifhiwa Matodzi was not the sole perpetrator of this extensive and elaborate threat. That crime was facilitated by many others, bank officials, municipal officials, politically connected persons. And our statement says clearly that the Hawks, the NPA, Treasury, while they must be applauded for the outcome of yesterday, for the conviction and sentencing, much more must be done to bring to justice swiftly all those responsible for the crime, not only so that there is a full accounting, but also so that there can be no suspicion that those who enjoy political connection enjoy immunity and are outside the reach of our law.
So, do you get a sense that there is still some political shielding that is going on of particular individuals?
Look, we don't have any evidence or intelligence to that effect, but obviously what is enormously concerning is, as you say, the amount of time that it has taken to reach this point. And at this point, we saw the chief financial officer be jailed, and now Tshifhiwa Matodzi, but none of the others who are suspected and who have been indicted and faced arrest have in fact been convicted. Related to the theft of VBS is the fact that we have seen a number of whistleblowers who sought to expose the wrongdoing at VBS and of municipal officials who unlawfully invested municipal funds with VBS. We have seen those whistleblowers gunned down and assassinated. And whilst there have been some arrests of individuals who pulled the trigger, there have been no arrests of the masterminds, those who ordered the hits. And unfortunately, the South African public sees that time and again, that if there are arrests and prosecutions, they are of those who pulled the trigger in respect of politically connected assassinations. But the masterminds, those who ordered the hits, are not brought to justice. And that obviously raises tremendous concerns among the South African public.
If you ask the Department of Justice, if you ask Treasury, they'll tell you that the Hawks and the NPA are enabled. Treasury will say there's a huge chunk of the budget that we are dedicating to fighting crime and the prosecution of corruption crimes. The NPA will say we've got now an independent directorate that is in place. So there is an enabling that is happening at those institutions.
There is. Obviously, we see in recent days, for instance, the fact that our Justice Ministry's budget been slashed by 13%, which, to some extent questions whether we are putting our resources, directing them at the departments that need it in order to fight the scourge of crime. But you are right. There has been some enabling, and our statement calls for much more significant enabling of the powers of the Hawks, of the NPA, of Treasury, to ensure that justice is done, and not only of these institutions, right, in respect of securing prosecutions, of undertaking thorough investigations, which then lead to successful prosecutions, but we are also calling on institutions like the Asset Forfeiture Unit, on the South African Revenue Service, to do all within their power and to be supported to ensure the disgorgement of these ill-gotten gains, to the disgorgement of the monies that were stolen, not only because that is the way in which you secure justice, but we cannot forget the victims of this crime. I've already referred to whistleblowers who have died, obviously people who have paid with their lives, families that have been left bereaved without breadwinners. But we cannot forget the many pensioners, among the most vulnerable in South Africa, who have been left without their life savings and now face the prospect of spending their retirement years frightened and hungry because their monies were stolen through this extensive heist on VBS Bank. And they must be properly recompensed.
Do you have confidence in our team's ability to carry out this work? I'll tell you why. The national head of the Directorate for Priority Crimes, Lieutenant Godfrey Lebeya, saying the conviction is testament to the unwavering commitment and exceptional skills of our team.
Look, we don't want to take away from what happened, and we do think it's a significant moment, which is why we lead with an applause for this moment. But it cannot be, and it certainly will not serve the interests of the South African public, certainly not serve the interests of the victims of this crime, that accountability stops with Tshifhiwa Matodzi serving 15 years in jail. There are a far larger number of individuals who are responsible for this crime, who facilitated this crime, who have been enriched thereby, who must face the might of the law, who, if convicted, must serve jail time. And that is what is required in order for us to say that our crime-fighting institutions have properly faced down the scourge of crime and have served the South African public and have served the victims.
Nicole, appreciate your time. Thanks so much for coming on. Nicole Fritz, the committee member of Defend Our Democracy. Their reaction to the guilty verdict and, of course, the sentencing, shall I say, of 15 years of Tshifhiwa Matodzi, former VBS chair.